Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel for a review on a figure from a movie that means a hell of a lot to me. It's Brandon Lee in 1/6 scale from the film The Crow, and this figure is by Sideshow Collectibles. I hope you enjoy this review, folks. Drop a like on it for me, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram at DeanKnight333. Now I got this figure, folks, from a store in the UK that I've recently discovered called zombie.co.uk. They have a really good website where you can order your figures from. If you're UK based like I am, it's a great place to go to get your figures. You get your figure the very next day. Usually I get a lot of my stuff from overseas and it can take a week or longer, sometimes 2 weeks for stuff to arrive. You get a lot of issues with UK customs hanging on to stuff and charging you. That's just the way it is. But with Zombie, it turns up the very next day because it's in the same country as you already. They got a great selection, a lot of 1/6 scale figures by Hot Toys, Sideshow. They got statues by different companies, all kinds of cool stuff. So I would highly recommend them. Go and check out zombie.co.uk. I'll be getting some more stuff from them in the future, I'm sure, and I recommend you do too. Alright, Eric Draven is here. Let's get started with this review, folks. The box art is nice. It's just pictures of the figure. The color choices are pretty cool. On the back of the box we've got a really cool image of the figure with his arms kind of outstretched in the rain, and a cool picture of a crow with its wings spread flying behind him, or just about to pass him. But you don't get that crow with the wings open like that with the figure. You only get this crow here, and I definitely think they should have given you two crows. You know, one like the one we've got. And seeing as it's on the box already, they definitely should have given you this one too, with a little clear little rod that could hold it up, like the old Hot Toys 1/6 scale crow figure used to have. I did own the Hot Toys crow figure and I think it was a fantastic piece. I just got a little bit bored of it over the years. I had it for a very long time and it had a very specific expression on the Hot Toys head sculpt with the teeth showing, and that kind of evil smile that he had a lot during the movie. There's many scenes where he's making that expression that the Hot Toys figure had. But I always craved a Eric Draven figure with just more of a straight expression like this. So I was very interested when I saw Sideshow were making this. The figure's been out for a year now, I think, so I'm a bit late getting it, but I was thinking about it carefully whether or not I should get this one. And I'll tell you at the end whether I'm glad I did or not. While I was waiting for this figure to arrive, which was just basically overnight because it was here the very next day like I said, but I did watch pretty much all the Crow figures I could find, well, reviews I mean, of the Sideshow piece on YouTube. I looked at everything, and some of my friends out there in the community did great jobs reviewing this, but most of the videos were very overly lit and didn't honestly really showcase the figure as it really needs to be. So I'm not saying I'm going to achieve that in this video, but I'm certainly, that's my main goal shooting this video, is to try and get this figure looking as good as it can. I do have some plans for some repaint mods that I'm going to be doing to their head sculpt after I film this review, but I'm really going to try with the lighting and angles with the camera and all that stuff. I'm going to try to bring out the very best of this piece, because I do think it definitely looks better than some of the videos out there would have you believe. I've seen some folks saying that this looks more like a cosplayer or a wrestler than it does Brandon Lee, but getting in person, I really do think the sculpt is there. I think that the lines that kind of come out from the eyes are a bit too long, and there should be a little bit more darkness around his eyes. So those are things that I'm going to fix in the very near future. But I am definitely going to try to bring the very best out of this piece in this review and show you what this figure really is. Now this is a screenshot that I took from one of the first videos that came out of this figure when it was released, and the video was from Sideshow Collectibles, and I think it was an unboxing. And this is the, you know, just the stock head sculpt, and then I did a very crude Photoshop job here. Obviously that's a bit too much, but I just wanted to see what it would look like with a bit more darkness around the eyes and the lips be a bit darker as well. Although in the movie, after double checking again recently, like Sideshow have actually done on the head sculpt, you know, giving him, you know, the kind of more almost like a, I don't want to say red, but they're definitely not black, the lips. In the movie, there is definitely more of a black line around the lips, but the main portion of the middle of the lips has this tone. So when I do repaint it, I'm going to try to replicate that. Then we got some pictures from the movie. Yeah, it's a bit dark, but if you look at the lines coming out from the eyes, they're just not as long as they are on the Sideshow figure. So I definitely will shorten the lines, and I think that'll help. There's some other shots here. Also, the jacket is missing some details. Yeah, the jacket seems to be missing some details there. See the that section there, which I guess a button would go through, a big button, or I don't know if that's just part of the design, but the Sideshow figure doesn't have that. And while I've got the phone out, this was, you know, when I was mentioning there wasn't too many videos on YouTube that showed the figure in a really, well, literally a good light. This channel here, Los Mundos de First Collection, you know, crucifying the name, but that is the YouTube channel. This is the video, and he did a really good job showcasing this Sideshow Crow figure. So do me a favor, go out and check out this guy. I left him a comment, and he could do with some subscribers. How many subscribers he got? 388. So yeah, let's get him some subs. He did a really good job showcasing the Crow. But we'll start with the main attraction really, which is the sculpt, and I really do think the actual sculpt is very good, and the paint ain't too bad either. They've done a really good job of making it look like the makeup has gone on top of the skin tone. You can see the top of the hairline there, it starts to fade into the white makeup. I like the expression, that is perfect for me. He looks focused and determined, but neither too sad or aggressive. I think it's a really good sculpt. Do I think it is a more accurate sculpt than the Hot Toys one? No. While I did get quite bored of the Hot Toys expression after a number of years, and I did have it from day one up until about maybe 3 years ago, I think I got rid of it, but it was a really spot on expression. I think this is damn good too. Honestly, I think the structure of the face, you know, the bone structure is very on point, and I love the length of the hair. And here, like, when you really look into the eyes, I'm definitely seeing Brandon Lee. And I just changed the angle. It's a bit more askew now, and I will admit I've kind of lost the likeness to Brandon Lee as far as what I'm seeing here. Something about this particular angle here, I don't know if it's the eyes or what, but I've lost him a little bit here. From dead on the front, I thought it was really damn strong. As we move a little bit more to the side profile, yeah, it's getting better. It was just right around here. I don't know. See, the longer you look at something, I don't know if your brain just starts to try and convince you that you're supposed to be seeing what you want to see, or I don't know. I'm definitely not disliking it though. The light catches the eyes nicely, they're just the right amount of glossy. And the makeup, the face has a nice matte finish to it, like a really contrast, you know, against the eyes. Alright, now from the other side. I mean, let me know in the comments what you're thinking as far as the likeness goes, like a percentage out of 100. I think from the front it's like a 90%. From the kind of askew angles and the side profile, maybe down to like a 75-80 likeness. Although that doesn't look too bad right there. Definitely nothing to be mad at here. That's how I'm feeling about it. I mean, Sideshow obviously gave a crap. They really did try here. I think it's a great option for someone who maybe missed out on the Hot Toys one, or they had the Hot Toys one like I did and got a bit bored with it. And this could be, you know, your next Crow figure. Don't know when we're going to get another one. But as far as the head sculpt goes, there's not much to complain about from my point of view anyway. got his head tilted down slightly. And again, I'm really liking the likeness here. I'm definitely seeing Brandon most of the time. This film came out when I was about 13, I would have been, going on 14 pretty quickly after the film's release, but yeah, my early teenage years, and I was absolutely obsessed with this movie. I had the soundtrack like we all did, and that soundtrack is probably my favorite movie soundtrack of all time. It just an absolute crusher. But I remember just loving this film, loving the atmosphere, being obsessed with it, being obsessed with Brandon Lee, and being absolutely heartbroken over his loss. It makes the film there's so much weight to it because he died during the filming of it, and just the subject matter for the movie, and it all comes together. I can't even put it into words, but it's heavy, man. It's really it's a very, very special film, one of the very best comic book movies of all time, and it doesn't get mentioned enough in those top 10, top 20 videos on YouTube. They're all about Marvel, DC, but don't forget, The Crow was one of the originals, like comic book movie brought to life with one of the very best performances ever, and something that influenced the Dark Knight's Heath Ledger Joker so much, and so many of those scenes were kind of very much inspired by stuff you see in the Crow movie, especially his introduction when he walks in on the mob meeting. That is right out of the Crow, even down to when he points. Now, it's a shame I don't have the Hot Toys figure here to compare to this one. I do have a NECA Crow figure. He's a quarter scale, and he's very, very old. I don't know how many years old my NECA figure is, but it feels like it's about 15 years old now, but that likeness still holds up. I'll do a comparison between this and that in a moment. We're going to take a little break now and just show you some footage of the Hot Toys Crow figure that I shot back when I got that figure first, when it was released. And I spent a lot of time on the showcase videos doing a lot of photography, using movie stills as backgrounds and trying to make it look as real as possible. So, like I say, I don't have the Hot Toys figure to compare here and now, but you can take a good look at the Hot Toys Crow figure in this clip coming up, and then we'll come back to the Sideshow piece. Enjoy. Those were the days, making those kind of showcase videos. I had some of the best times of my life making stuff like that. The Crow videos in particular, I think I did 3 separate showcase videos, and all of them originally I used music from the movie. The first video was Burned by The Cure, which was just the effect of seeing the pictures that I'd done with the music from the movie and timing the editing to the music and all that stuff. I used to spend so much time working on them, but inexperienced, you know, with YouTube copyright rules back then, wondering, you know, maybe I can get away with this video and another video will get blocked. Some people seemed to get away with it, others didn't. Like I said, I didn't really know what the rules were. It was quite difficult to find out anything about that at the time. Basically, if you don't own it, you can't use it, which is fair enough. But those original showcase videos with the music from the movie was so effective. Just like the Christopher Reeve Hot Toy Superman original showcase video when I used the John Williams score. It was heartbreaking taking those down and re-uploading them again with copyright-free music. It just wasn't the same. But thanks to folks like White Bat Audio now on YouTube, you know, the videos are pretty badass again. But here is the NECA quarter scale figure, and I still really like the sculpt and the paint for a figure as old as it is. Obviously, having it next to this much more recently released 1/6 scale figure of the Crow by Sideshow, there's quite a leap back in time here. But I still really rate this piece. The sculpt of the clothing is incredible, and he still stands up on his own, no problem. I'm pretty sure I've reviewed him already on the channel many years ago, folks. He's probably appeared in like a top 10 NECA figure video that I've done in the past or something like that, but it's a really good piece by NECA. Alright, let's start getting into the meat, and we'll start posing them up and showing accessories and having some fun with the figure here. He comes with some cool accessories. The weapons are cool, they look pretty accurate, especially the shotgun here. It should definitely be more weathered. In the movie it looks pretty damn old, and here it looks brand new, but I can always do that myself. But I'm glad that it's at least seems to be the accurate colour. The hands, I saw another review on YouTube where someone mentioned that these look like reused Sideshow Collectibles Michael Myers hands. I can't say whether that's true or not, because I did review the Sideshow figure of Michael Myers on the channel, but I didn't keep it, it wasn't mine. So that's not here. The hand here with the bullet hole in it, that does look to be a subtle different tone to the rest of them. They're all a little bit pale skin tone wise, apart from the one with the bullet hole, so it does look a slightly different tone to me. Katana sword looks good, but I'll show him with all these weapons in a moment. Like I said, I wish he had come with an open wing, you know, like a spread wing kind of crow, as well as this one here. And he definitely should have some kind of nameplate, or some, you know, at least have that on the base. That's just the wraparound that goes around the plastic tray that holds everything. But that logo should definitely be on the base. It's underneath, I think. I'll check that out in a minute. I've heard other people say it's underneath and it should be on top, but it really should. For a character this iconic, there should definitely be a nameplate or a symbol or something. It's very plain, but it's the usual Sideshow black base. And I always say this with the Sideshow figures, and everyone does really, and again you can see the different skin tone with that hand in the middle there compared to the others. It does make me tend to believe the folks who I heard saying that these are reused from other characters, with the added kind of crow wrapping around the hand there. But I do love the fact that every hand already has the wrist peg attached, so you don't have to keep pulling out the wrist peg. It's already just attached to the hand, and it's so easy to change over on the Sideshow figures. I really like that. Now, first pose with him holding the shotgun out. Usually the Sideshow Collectibles bodies can be quite loose, and you might have a bit of trouble getting him to hold his arm out like this without it, you know, dipping and not really cooperating with you, especially with the weight of the shotgun in the hand as well. But this one's holding it fine. Over time I'm sure that will change. It's just the nature of these things. But right out of the box he's able to hold the arm straight out and hold on to the shotgun, keeping it nice and straight for me. And I think it looks really good. Let's get it from a low angle here. It's actually going to be quite tricky repainting the lines that come out from the eyes, because the lines that go up towards the forehead there, they go up quite high, onto the actual skin tone that bleeds into the makeup, which would make it a lot more difficult to repaint, because it means I'd probably have to just redo the whole face. I don't want to do that. I want to do just a subtle little touch up. So I might leave the lines as they are and just do a little bit more darkness around the actual eyelids. I want to keep the nice natural fade that the darkness has around the eyes fading into the white. Don't want to mess with that. But I might just add a little bit more darkness, just very subtle to begin with, and just see how I go. Just around the actual eyelids. But in natural daylight, as more reddish as the lips actually come across in person, in a sort of, you know, the more darker setting, they don't look red, they look black. So it's quite clever really for Sideshow, because this is a figure you're not supposed to have in a really bright light situation. And when you have him in the correct kind of moody lighting, it comes across pretty much as it was intended. The lips look dark, there's a nice amount of darkness around the eyes. So I'll think long and hard before I start taking a paintbrush to it. It doesn't really need it at all. They did a really good job here. But I'm a tinkerer. I love messing with stuff. I'm glad the shotgun seems to be the accurate silver and black colour, just lacking the weathering that the real gun had in the film. Yep, just needs a little weathering. But I'm happy with the shotgun. One thing I have done already is glue down the collar of the leather jacket, because I don't like it when they're sticking up. I want it to look like it's, you know, has weight to it and it's resting naturally around him. So I did just take a tiny pinch of Loctite glue right to the corner sort of point of the collar sections, if that's what you call it. I'm just going to call it a collar for the sake of sounding ignorant, but is it jacket lapels, collar, whatever it is, flappy bits, I glued them down, which helps secure the foot of the crow when it's on his shoulder, because the collar is now stuck down with the glue. You just slide his foot underneath the collar and he'll sit there quite naturally. We'll just take a look at the crow while it's on his shoulder. The eyes are painted nicely. That's a good sculpt. I like it. Nice work. The proportions of the figure with the coat on are not too bad. He does look a little bit more buff than I would like him to, but it is quite a baggy coat. I'll show you what he looks like obviously without the coat on, like the look on the front of the box there. But it's not too bad. Could do with being, I don't know, that's what we're going to see. I'm going to take off the coat, we'll see what the body looks like, how, you know, slim it looks, or is it a bit too buff. But proportions ain't too bad. I think that looks fine. It seems to have like a butterfly joint in the arms at the shoulder area, so you can kind of bring the shoulders in a little bit to make him look a little bit slimmer. But it's not too bad with the coat on. It's not something that will bother me, honestly, because I'm very easily bothered by little things on figures, and I don't see that being a problem. Honestly, I don't really see anything visually being a problem for this guy on the shelf as a Brandon the Crow figure on display. Now you do get the hand with the hole in it, and I've tried to angle that up so you can see his eye looking through the hole in his hand, which is really gross. You can see his eye through there. It's cool. It's got the ring on there too. We've got cuticles. Nice detail. But yeah, you can definitely pose him where the eye is coming through the hole there, and it's quite creepy. I remember doing that before with the Hot Toys figure, but I had to make a hand like that myself for the Hot Toys one because it didn't come with it. And who knows, maybe my showcase videos were some kind of inspiration. Probably not, because it's obvious you need to give this figure this hand. That's why I did it back in the day. And as you can see, I've had to point the light right at him in order to be able to see the eye through the hand. If you shine the light from above, you're just not going to see it. But that's the gun that he took from Funboy after Funboy shot him in the hand. He played along for a few seconds and then just laughed it off. and told a fun joke about Jesus. Yeah, just a different pose with the hand with the hole in it, kind of just showing it, unfazed. Kept the gun in that position, and the crow is up here on the box, observing. Definitely a good looking piece. The more I look at it, the less I want to do anything to it modification wise, but I still probably will, you know what I'm like. But it's a great looking figure. That wouldn't be a bad way to display him. Looks pretty badass. Now, I don't know over time how well this particular fake leather clothing is going to hold up from Sideshow Collectibles. I have heard, because of my research with the 1/6 scale Vader situation, when I was trying to decide which one to get. As you know, on the channel here, I did settle on the Sideshow Return of the Jedi Darth Vader figure, because I heard that the pleather materials do last longer and hold up to harsher kind of climates. This being the Sideshow figure, I'm curious to see how well this fake leather jacket will hold up over time, as well as the leather pants, or fake leather, faux leather, pleather, whatever you want to call it. Only time will tell. Now I just want to get you some footage of the figure on the rotating base before I remove the coat. You just get a look at the proportions and the way the coat naturally kind of hangs around the figure. I think there is a wire running through the bottom of the coat. Pretty sure there is. It's a subtle one, but it is there. I think it looks really good as it's turning. Looks very natural. Coat's hanging nicely, unlike the natural kind of wrinkles that are in the coat, especially at the back here and all the rips. See those? I'll get a closer look at that as it comes around. But lovely effect as well. It definitely looks leather, and there is a beautiful lining, like a pattern inside, which I'll show you as well. Yeah, very nicely done. Sorry, I promise I'll remove the coat in a minute. I'm just trying to think of all the weapons I need to show him holding with the coat on. And the katana sword is the last one I need to show. He was wearing the coat in that scene. I just got his head slightly turned off to the side. And one cool thing about having him holding on to the katana with both hands is it brings the arms close together and it makes him look slimmer with the coat on. That's definitely had an effect there. So that's a cool option for display, because it will solve one of the little tiny little nitpicks. Definitely slims him down with a pose like this. The katana itself is nicely done. It's plastic, but nicely painted, nicely sculpted. Nice long handle there that both and the hands can hold on to. And there's room to spare. There's the business end. Nice and pointy katana. Nicely detailed. Figure looks good holding onto it. Again, I think that looks a lot like Brandon Lee. It's giving me thumbnail vibes. Again, I was just taking some pictures and I was right at this angle and it's just screaming at me, Brandon Lee. I'm telling you folks, it's there. It's not perfect, but that's definitely Brandon Lee right there at this angle with the lighting the way it is. Some folks will say you shouldn't need to mess around with lighting to bring out the likeness, and I'm not, honestly, just not messing around with lights. It's just the way the light is in here. I've got 2 desk lamps on either side of him. I've got the lights coming from above and one from below, just to catch the light in the eyes. I guess that is manipulation of some kind. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, I got it looking good, and I'm really seeing Brandon Lee, and I really like it. I'm liking it more and more the more I film it as this review goes on. He arrived yesterday, but I was spending time with my lady, so I got him out and had a look at him, but didn't really scrutinize anything. I was just having a day off. But now that I'm really looking at this thing, that is strong. That's very strong. It's going to be interesting when it comes to the score out of 10. That is good. Look at that, that's him. Tell me that's not Brandon Lee. Alright, I have removed the coat, and I have to say I love the way he looks without it. I also love the way he looks with it on, so it's going to be one of them ones. It's going to be tricky settling on the pose for the shelf, but I kind of want to go with this because once the coat comes off, as we were talking about before with you about the proportions and how it looked with the coat on, it looks absolutely dead on, I think, to his physique. I don't know what the situation here was with the body, but maybe Sideshow made one specifically for the Crow or reused another one. I don't know, but it does work really well for him. Can't stress enough how easy it is to change over the hands. Have I got one arm longer than the other? What's going on? I need to look into that. I thought that looked a bit odd yesterday when I first got him out of the box and he had the coat on and he was just standing on the table in the kitchen. I remember thinking it looked like one of the hands was kind of just sitting lower than the other one, and I'm definitely seeing that now, so I'm going to go see what's going on here. Maybe I've got the butterfly joint pressed up or something on that side. I'm going to see if I can pull the arm down a little bit. Alright, yes, that's what that was, folks. I just had the butterfly joint on the shoulder on his right arm was just a little bit higher up than the, you know, just the articulation really just needed to be moved. But now the hands are sitting at the same level. But I think he's got double bend in the elbow. I'll show you that in a sec. It's definitely got butterfly joints in the shoulders, so you can move the top of the arm forward, backwards, up and down, whatever you want to do. But proportions look excellent. I love the length of the hair. Alright, so rotating base footage. Let's see proportions as he comes around. Again, hair length is excellent. Head is in good proportion to the body. You see now, chest is not puffing out too much. He's not too buff. You can see some muscles in the back there. You call them what, where the traps kind of come down the back? We'll see that again. I just noticed it as it was coming around, but you can actually make out muscle tone coming through under the thin black shirt here. Let's see this. See the muscles right down the center? You can definitely make it out, and I like that. It's very good. And you got these big kind of gold buttons. There's a video on YouTube about the real outfit, going into great detail. Boots are really nice. I always love these boots. I have a pair very similar since I was about 14 years old. I still have them. But these are sculpted really well. Nice little bits of silver detail on there. There's no tread underneath. I saw that in another review. It's just smooth. It'd be nice if there was some tread action there, but it's not something you're going to see, so I'll let that slide. You got the little bits of rope, which I think this is from a deleted scene. How he ended up with these. The wrappings around his forearm there and the midsection. But anyway, I think that looks really on point. You can display the crow balancing on Eric Draven's hand if you like, and have Eric looking into the eyes of the crow as he communicates with the bird. The bird shows him the way, where to go. Must have been really confusing when he was first coming out of the ground after a year of being dead. Had no idea what was going on. It's an excellent performance by Brandon Lee. As everyone says, you can only imagine where his career would have gone after The Crow. It's so sad, just like with Heath Ledger. He never got to see his own performance. I'm sure he would have been really pleased with how it turned out. Well, this is the Blitzway Tyler Durden chair, so I'm not too sure if maybe they're slightly different scales, but either way I couldn't quite get Eric Draven's feet to meet the floor here. But he can sit down quite easily. I thought he would have trouble because of the pants, but didn't have any trouble there. So if you got a nice gothic 1/6 scale chair, that would be a nice option for displaying Mr. Draven here, because he can sit in a chair. And just to show you, he does have really good articulation. Double bend in the elbows, you're able to get the hand right up to the face. You can do all sorts of stuff when you've got that kind of articulation. You're only limited by your own imagination in that situation. That all rhymes. What the hell? Yeah. Now, just to show you some height comparisons with other figures, we've got Big Chief Studios, Tommy Shelby. And none of these figures are standing on any bases. They're all in line with each other. There's a Hot Toys Ben Affleck BVS Batman next to Eric Draven by Sideshow. That seems pretty good between those two. Not sure on the height of Cillian Murphy next to Brandon Lee, but there is a Hot Toys Christopher Reeve Superman. He is taller than Eric Draven as well. In fact, I think Eric Draven is the shortest of these figures on the desk. So that's just a little visual height comparison for you with some other figures. Alright folks, I'm going to wrap it up and give you my final thoughts and a score out of 10. I think Sideshow Collectibles have done an excellent job on a 1/6 scale Eric Draven figure. I do wish that he had the base with some kind of Crow logo or a nameplate. He does come with a base, but as you saw earlier, it's just black. There is a Crow logo underneath, which I still haven't even looked at. Let me just have a look at that now. Yes, it says the Crow underneath the base, but it should have something on the top. It really could do with that. And I do wish that it came with another Crow bird in flight, but what we do have, by the way, I never mentioned, I did not get the version with the guitar. I didn't even think about that when I was getting it. I just got the Crow. I'm not too worried about the guitar, though. I had the guitar with the Hot Toys figure and I might have used it a few times, but they're so fragile with the strings and stuff, I was always a bit worried to use it. So I don't miss the guitar. I think what we have here is, now I wish again I had the Hot Toys figure here to compare it to, but I think honestly if I had to choose between the two now, I think I would go with this one, because I don't see myself getting bored with this expression, because it's very, you know, it's not an extreme expression. I've got nothing against when Hot Toys and other companies give you an actual expression with like maybe a smile or an angry screaming face, or in the case of Eric Draven it was just that kind of evil grin with the teeth showing. But I do prefer this one. I think I just, you know, throughout the course of making this video I've really enjoyed filming it, and there's been some moments where it was just uncanny to Brandon Lee. So I love the proportions on this, I love the coat, I love the pants, I love the boots, the hands and how easy they are to change over is just, I love that about it. There's no stress with changing over hands and putting them into different poses. The head comes off nice and easy to take the coat on and off. I never actually showed you that beautiful design that's inside the coat here, all in the inner lining. And Sideshow did a beautiful job with that. It's a really nice detail. So yeah, let me just gather my thoughts here. So out of 10, it's really leaning into like a 9.5. Not quite going to go there, because like I said, would have been nice to have a bit more thought put into his base. Maybe a little diorama base wouldn't have been too bad with this guy. Just a little bit of a grimy street corner or something for him to stand on. Just something to give you a little bit of atmosphere, because that film was riddled with it. And a little diorama base from the streets covered in rain, you know, would have been excellent. I'm still going to give him a 9. A good strong 9 out of 10. This is an excellent Crow figure. If you don't have one yet, this is the one I might recommend you go for, because as we were talking about earlier, some of the Sideshow pleather, from what I've seen on forums with different figures, different discussions with collectors, the Sideshow stuff does seem to be holding up better than the Hot Toys equivalent with their fake clever jackets and stuff. Just recently I saw a friend of mine post a picture of his Resident Evil 4 figure, I think it was, and the leather, or the pleather, was absolutely just shredded. It's horrible to see that, but we'll see how it goes with this one. But I love the head sculpt. I think the likeness is amazing. As long as you don't, you know, film it with big bright white lights just pointing right at his face. You know, you just gotta light it the right way and it all comes out. So a 9 out of 10 from me, and very, very, very glad that I have this. It was a very sorely missed presence in the room, even though I do have that NECA one down there. He's a big figure, but on the shelf with the rest of the 1/6 scale characters, I was definitely missing Eric Draven. So again folks, check out zombie.co.uk, that's where I got this figure. They're based in the UK and they were excellent. I'm going to be checking them out again soon. I hope you've enjoyed this review folks. Let me know your thoughts, and honestly I would recommend you get this. You'll see what I mean when you get it in person. Drop a like on this video for me if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, there will be pictures from this session up on there. And RIP to the legend that was Brandon Lee and his father Bruce Lee. See you soon folks, take it easy, bye bye.